back. It is episode 10 of PK's Place. I hope everyone's doing very well on this fine Monday. I hope your weekend was lots of fun, filled with like, a lot of good times. So today's interview is actually going to be a twofer. We're going to have two people on at the same time. And I've had episodes where I've had two guests, but that was separate, never two at the same time. So today I'm bringing on two people that are actually good friends. It is Chet Johnson and Anson Goode. So I met Chet in June while playing ball hockey on Saturdays. Chet's a very good guy. And then his friend Anson Goode is a producer, and they're actually working on a ball hockey documentary, which we will get into in the interview. It was a good interview. We chatted for little over an hour, so I think you guys are going to enjoy it. And without further ado, we're going to send it over to Chet and Anson. All right, so our next two guests is the first time I've had two people on at the same time. Two good friends of mine. It is Chet Johnson and Anson Goode. Anson is working with Chet on an upcoming documentary called Floating Blue, which is the rise of American ball hockey. Chet, Anson, how are both of you doing this fine afternoon?
I'm doing well for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. I'm doing really good right now. Doing pretty good.
No problem. So, Chet, first I wanted to ask you, so for those that don't know, Chet actually just got back from Detroit, Michigan, where he was with his team at it was the Barstool Sports Ball Hockey and Street Hockey, like the Hockey Fest, run by the Spit and Chicklets podcast. Chet, how was your experience in Detroit?
Oh man, it was amazing. Like the vibe was incredible. Meeting the Spit and Chick, Mike, Whit, Biz, like they were just like one of the guys. Like, you know, they came up to you and it was just like, let's grab a beer, let's grab a Pink Whitney. I mean, it was just amazing. Met some great people out there. You know, we're playing ball hockey, which we love. I mean, they had roller too, but I mean, I think the main focus was on ball hockey because they had an NHL CBJ Columbus Blue Jackets team with Zach Werenski, and they were playing the NBHL team that was like an all-star team, the NBHL All-Stars, and it was like really, really sick, and that was a lot of energy. So everybody was looking forward to that game. So it was cool.
Good to hear. Anson, did you make the trip with Chet? And if so, what was your experience like?
Absolutely. Me and our director of photography, Naeem Jones, went out to Detroit with the team. The energy was absolutely incredible the whole time. I mean, there were all types of hockey players of all different calibers coming, but they all had the same energy and intensity, and then just Spit and Chicklets and Barstool Sports put on like an amazing event. Like they really cultivated an environment where people came out to compete, but after you were done competing, you just grabbed a drink with someone and had a great conversation. And I met lots of people who play hockey from all over the US. It was great.
Good to hear. So a little story that I'll tell the two of you. I think I've told this on a previous podcast, but before the Winter Classic at Notre Dame 2 years ago now, they had a live show in Chicago. And funny thing, looking back on it, it was at like a nightclub in Chicago. And so me and my dad ended up going, and like my dad knows Whitney from when Whitney played because Whitney used Easton gear, which is where he worked. So we ended up obviously we got inside and we listened to the taping. Now, unfortunately, the problem was the audio is so bad. Like we couldn't hear anything. People in the back couldn't hear things. So that means they would start talking and it would just get louder. So there was really no episode that came of it. It turned into kind of just a meet and greet, but no, it was fun to meet them. And the funny thing is my dad, like one of the ways he also met Whitney was at the Olympics. He was working at 2010 Olympics in Vancouver, which Whit played in, although sparingly. So my dad walks right in front of their table where the guys were, puts his hand out to Whitney, and Whitney was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "What's up, Husey?" He's like, "How you doing?" And then I shake his hand, introduce myself. And I told him, I said, the first time I introduced my dad to them was there was a clip on the Instagram of Whitney talking about the Sedins because the Sedins just retired at that point. And basically Whitney was like, these two were so nasty. They would just, have so many great plays together. And he's like, thank God I wasn't out there against them. Or coach would be like, Whitney, change. And he just starts dying, and he's like, it's true, I couldn't get off the ice. But yeah, those guys are both great. I enjoy listening to them on a weekly basis, and yeah, it was very good to meet them. So kind of in line with what you were saying, Chet.
Yeah, I mean, just awesome guys. Like, you wouldn't know that they were just like kind of like celebrities. You just think they're one of the guys. So very cool, very down to earth. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it was super awesome when we were interviewing them. We were interviewing Biz and Mike, and then Whitney came in the middle of the interview and kind of stole the show with his energy. So like those guys, when you get them together, it's a great time.
Yeah, they're. I will say one of the better things about they have very good chemistry, and obviously that's not only evident on the podcast, but as you said, Anson, it was evident when you interviewed them. So Biz obviously he's known for obviously having kind of an extravagant personality. How much of that were you able to capture when you interviewed him?
I mean, he was pretty contained when he interviewed us. I think he wanted to make sure that he was letting us know that how much he was in support of the ball hockey community and how much they were really trying to push that event to be something spectacular just for hockey fans in general. But I think once Whitney was there, the energy definitely kind of changed a little bit, and you could see a lot more of his personality popping out. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, the funny thing is Whitney and Biz, they have such an interesting dynamic where they kind of bring the best out in each other, and especially since obviously Whitney's doing more of the chirping as opposed to Biz, especially since obviously both of them their careers didn't really end the way that they would have liked, but especially Whit's able to give it a little bit because he obviously signed a big contract when he played, and he obviously had, I think he had like 60 points one year he played, so he can obviously get away with a little more. And they even, I don't know if you saw this, they actually had like a video where they did like a cook-off like on the barbecue. And oh my God,
No, I
Biz.
missed that.
No, so okay, so for those that don't know, Whitney and Biz did a cookout on the barbecue. It was like sponsored by like Budweiser Canada, no free ads. And basically Whitney won. I mean, I figured he would. He's a dad, he's cooked more. And what got me, and someone who, myself as someone who like cooks a little bit, Biz put a full like bulb of garlic just straight on the grill. Didn't wrap it in tinfoil. Didn't do anything. Just put it on there, and he's like, "Oh, I thought like the smell was gonna help with the smell." And I'm like, "All right, whatever." So I wasn't surprised that he lost that. But no, if you haven't checked it out, it's on their YouTube channel. I think everyone should go check it out. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, definitely gonna check that out for sure.
Absolutely. So even in that ball hockey tournament, what was your reaction, especially once you saw Team NBHL? For those that don't know, it stands for National Ball Hockey League. So their all-star team made it to the finals. What was your reaction when they made it to the finals, then especially that final game? Because watching the highlights, that final game was very entertaining.
Oh yeah, it was sick. Well, they actually played beforehand, and the NBHL All Stars kind of blew them out, surprisingly. Like I was over like by the NHL team, and I just heard the one guy, I don't know who it was. He's like, "Don't worry about it, boys. We're gonna see him in the finals. Don't worry about this." So when they play in the finals, I think the NBHL All Stars already knew they could hang with them. But I mean, it was a lot more intense, and I think the NBHL All Stars were up like 3-0 after in the game, and then the NHL guys just came back storming back, and then when they tied the game, it was like incredible. And it was just funny, Corey Wilson, he plays on the NBH All Stars, and they were trying. He's a smaller guy compared to everybody else, and they were trying to rough him up a little bit, especially after the first game. And every time they tried to rough him up, he would score. So it's like we're not gonna rough this guy anymore. But yeah, when it went to overtime, it was just electric. And I don't know if you want me to spoil who won or whatever, but
no, you could go ahead and say it. It's been about a week, so I think some people would know, but
yeah, it went to overtime, and then Johnny Ruiz scored on like a slap shot in the corner, and then it was just like so much electricity because the crowd's right over the rink, so everybody's like hanging over the rink, and it's like fans everywhere, and like the Spin Chickles are rooting hard for the NHL guys, so that shut them up kind of quick. And like, the NBHL guys were for real after that.
Yeah. the NBHL guys definitely showed up, and I think that finals game was like super intense and interesting and some of the best hockey I've seen play. But if I'm honest, in their first matchup, Corey hit a very sick spinning trick shot, and that image is like stuck in my head. That shot was amazing.
So you could say that it's living rent free in your head right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely rent free in my head right now. Like man, that's like a basketball move, and he pulled it out on a hockey court. It was like it's great. It was chef's kiss.
Or the white chocolate for everybody.
Yeah. So Chet, you did mention that they ended up winning, and I've seen the video, and almost like you say, like, so Ruiz scores and Team NBHL is going crazy, but then the camera pans over to Whitney and Biz, and they're just like in awe. They're like, they lost. They're like, what just happened? But I mean, they both were saying you had to give it up to both teams. I mean, it was a very well played game.
I mean, I know they had the sports book and stuff, so I'm not sure if they had money on the NHL team. I know Whitney, when you say you had odds on a fight being taking place.
Yeah, no, he definitely thought that there was going to be some hands thrown in that last game. It was getting pretty chippy.
Yeah, at least from my experience playing ball hockey can get pretty intense. So I wouldn't be surprised by that. I don't think they had any odds on it. I mean, it would have been for the partnership, it would have made sense because the sports book is at the casino there. But no, I don't think they did. And so, like you said, Werenski was on that CBJ team. How do you think he was on the ball hockey rink as opposed to how he normally is on skates?
Well, I think I'm not sure if his background ball hockey, I don't know if he played before, but it seemed like it was like a smooth transition. I mean, his shots were hard and everything. I know he was complaining about his stick being too long in that finals game, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I think I've noticed just playing with you and Igor and other ice hockey guys, it seems like ball hockey is a easier transition than maybe from like a roller to ball hockey. It just seems like you guys, just like the stick handling and the shooting, like you guys kind of make that quick transition to the game, which is awesome to see.
Yeah. So what I'll say about that is, so roller. What's interesting about roller, and I've never really played roller. I just know from observing it and people talking about it. You have to constantly move, like in order to gain speed, you got to move a lot. Where I feel like me going from Igor and everyone going from ice to street, we like on the ice, there's a little more gliding that happens, a little more like a little less moving of the feet. But I'll tell you what, when you're running around like in your shoes in ball hockey, like you got to move, you got to motor out there. It's honestly a really good way to just not only burn some extra calories and do something fun on the weekend, but it's enjoyable. It's very competitive. So I always enjoy that aspect of it. So I didn't think Werenski would have a tough transition, but just to hear that you guys blew out a team with someone who I think at that point he just signed for like $9.5 million, some ridiculous amount. So yeah, and it's funny you mentioned he complains about his sticks, especially. I mean, he's making $9 million. He can afford a lot more sticks.
Yeah, no, to me, he looked pretty comfortable out there. And if I could speak to like maybe why the first game was like a little more on the NBHL team side versus that second game, I don't think he was expecting that level of competition. Like it sounded like when he talked to Whitney and when he talked to the guys that he was ready to come in and have like a fun game of ball hockey, whereas the NBHL guys came to that tournament to prove themselves.
No, for sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he kind of thought it was a Sunday stroll when in fact, no, it was a real game. It was actually competitive. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So Chet, I wanted to ask you, so how did you get into ball hockey? What was your introduction?
Basically, I was playing intramural sports in Philadelphia. And I got like a football background, running back, and I was playing flag football and I hated it. It was like nothing like football. So I was like, let me find another sport I can play. because my career is over and whatever. And then they had ball hockey. Well, I think they might call it street hockey, whatever. But it was gyms with the sticks with the plastic blades, and I loved it. Like, it was just fun. Everybody was cool. Like, girls were playing. It was co-ed, so it was a lot of fun. And then I just kept on playing it, and it was interesting to see how competitive it got the more I played it, and finding out there was other leagues and things like that. I mean, I played in the PPE league by Mike Alfonso in Philadelphia. Then I went to Charlotte and played in the Charlotte Street Hockey League. Then I moved to California and played in a couple leagues here. It's, and this whole NBHL just brought like everything together. So now you're playing East Coast teams, West Coast teams. It's just like amazing time for ball hockey. And I think the sport's really growing. And, we're hoping that this documentary can get some more eyes on it for sure.
Absolutely. So before we hop back into that, I wanted to ask, since you brought up football and you're a running back, who would you say was your player comparison as a running back in the NFL?
I would say Marshawn Lynch, even though he's retired now, but that's kind of like the style I do. And I kind of try to do that in ball hockey too, because I'm not the most skilled player. I know you see me out there, but I'm going to run hard and I'm going to do all the dirty work, in the boards and whatever. I mean, I'm not looking to score. I'm looking to set my guys up or screen the goalie. But, the one thing I think the most important thing with ball hockey is speed. So if you can run, I mean, that's like half the battle right there. So.
For sure. Yeah. Going beast mode on us. I like it. So now going back to what you actually were saying. So the documentary, I wanted to ask both of you, who came up with the idea to start this documentary, and how did you get the ball rolling?
You want to take that one first, Chet? Because it was your idea at the jump,
Well, funny because me and Anson connected because he has his own production company, Black Rose, and I did a short with them, and it was awesome. And then I never thought that this would lead to this, but I've always been kind of shopping around a ball hockey pilot, which kind of my experiences in LA, and then nobody was really feeling it. And then I was thinking about doing a documentary on SoCal street hockey. And then everybody was like, yeah, that might be good, but whatever. And then I kind of just felt that I could kind of blend the two together. And then I talked to my film partner, Matt Mers, and Jason Mers. And I was like, I think it'd be an awesome idea if we do a ball hockey documentary, especially with this National Ball Hockey League just starting up. And, maybe National Ball Hockey League's interested, maybe we can do something. And then I pitched the idea to Anson and his team, and they were all on board. And it was like, let's make a movie, basically. And I think if right now it's exceeding expectations for sure, but we're still filming it. So, I mean, there's more to come. But just a spoiler, I think the best ball hockey game ever played is going to be in this movie. That's all I'm going to.
I feel that. Yeah, like. The funnier part about it too is like Chet initially invited me to come out and play ball hockey with him, and it was still a little bit early on in the the pandemic, and I wasn't necessarily trying to go outside yet. And then maybe a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, he was like, "Hey, actually, I'm thinking about this documentary. Do you guys want to come out?" And when I brought my team to the rink, they were playing a pickup in Mar Vista, and when we saw the intensity of the sport and the passion that those guys had, I knew immediately that I was brought here to do this. Like, this has to be done. Like, and I have no regrets. Everybody that we've met on the journey has been like so gracious and amazing, and just happy to have us doing something like this for the sport. And like, we're just here to try to tell the best story we can. And the Wolves are making it pretty easy for us. I can't lie. They're on a very storied season. I'm loving it.
Yes. So Chet, do either one of you have a kind of timetable on when the documentary would be released or when to be finished?
Yes, I'll let you take that since you're at.
Absolutely. So we still have a couple more projected film dates, a few more interviews, and then obviously we have to wrap up with the NBHL season. And then, we're in talks with some NHL teams to see if we can do some things with them. I don't want to say too much about that yet until it comes to fruition, but we should be wrapping up our principal photography in maybe early to mid-October. Give us a few months to come up with a rough edit, and then we'll probably be debuting the film for the hockey community sometime early to mid 2022.
Okay, so you still got a number of months out until it's actually completed.
Yeah, we got to finish like maybe 2 more months of principal, and then we're going to have a few months of post, editing the whole thing together, getting the soundtrack together, and then we're going to start figuring out where we can shop it. But when it's done, I think the first thing we really want to do is show at least the local hockey community, because they really deserve to see all their hard work.
No, that's admirable. I was also going to ask, so with documentaries, what is the hardest part during the editing process, or even just kind of the most challenging part of making a documentary?
I think the most challenging part has just been to get everyone to play ball. Like, people want to be involved. People definitely support the project, but everyone's living their lives and they got their own schedules and they've got other things that they have to do. And so maybe some of the storylines that we thought were going to be hugely important, we just couldn't lock down the person in enough time to get the interview where it made sense with the flow of the story. So you just got to let the story kind of come to you. And that's a challenge you have to overcome every single time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I obviously, when it does come out, and you guys let me know when it comes out, I'll make sure we plug it so that the listeners and viewers here on YouTube can check it out, because I'm looking forward to watching it from start to finish.
You're out here in Cali, right?
Oh, I'm actually I'm in Chicago right now for a bit, but no, I was out in LA. My dad lives out there. And the thing that's also interesting was, yeah, so Igor, the second past guest, funny, I feel like I bring him up. He comes up every episode somehow, but he was the one who first came to ball hockey, and he was telling us about it. So when I heard about it, I was like, hey, this sounds fun. Like, let me come with. So I came with the first time, and like Anson, like you were saying, like seeing the pace of play, like it was a lot of fun. The group was good. So I pretty much almost every time after that, I came out, and especially that last pickup game Chet ran was very fun. I mean, especially bringing former Anaheim Duck Emerson Edom. Which, Chet, I wanted to ask, how did you swing that? I know he's a busy guy of late, but how'd you get Emerson to come?
It's really persistence at worst, because I mean, I've hit up a lot of people, and Emerson was one, and it wasn't like I hit him up and he's like got right back to me. Like, I kind of just stayed on him, and then he was like, yo, I'd love to. I mean, yeah, I'll be there. And then I wasn't sure if he was just saying that, and then he showed up that morning. You know what I mean? And then he even played with us, which was even better. I think he was just going to do the like a quick interview, like how he was dressed. I mean, he had on his Shredders, polo on. So I was like, maybe this guy's not gonna play. It's like, oh, give me a stick, I'm out there. And he out there and he was chirping Igor. It was all good.
Yeah, what was funny about that, one of my past guests, it was episode 8, so 2 episodes ago. One of my friends who is in Quebec right now, he was talking about how he was playing in a deck hockey league. So kind of similar to ball hockey, except everyone it's indoors, and pretty much everyone had to wear a helmet. So he was talking about that. But for me, what was funny about Emerson was, like, I actually watched Emerson growing up, playing for the Ducks, and I was always a fan of his. I thought he was, a very skilled player. But what was funny was, like you said, he came into the game, I think it was the second period, because so normally, for those that don't know, how we would run it would be, we would just kind of like pick up play till 10 and then switch. This time we actually played a real game. So we played 3 20-minute periods, which I thought was refreshing. I thought was fun. And Emerson joins in the second period. And by the time the second period's over, he's like, I'm out of breath. I can't do this. He's like, I'm sitting this next period out.
Yeah, that's the thing about ball hockey. I mean, I haven't really played ice or roller, but there's one thing, is like, you have to be in shape or you're going to pay for it. Like, that running, that cardio is just like another level, Plus, if you're playing a little physical and, you got a heavy stick, like all that stuff adds up. But it's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was no, that last pickup game was enjoyable. The only thing that was unfortunate was it was a Saturday in like mid-July in Los Angeles, and it was so hot, not even humid. Like I feel because more in the US, like the Midwest and Florida in the summer is gross and humid. Where in LA, it was just at that point, it was just kind of like dry. It was like we were all just sweating buckets out there. It was nuts.
Yeah, ton of fun for sure. Well, the good thing is interview with you and Igor, so I'm sure that will be in the doc as well. So you got another reason to watch it for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So for those that don't know, like Chet just said, Igor the second and I were asked to be in the documentary, and obviously us being content guys, we said, yeah, we'll do it. Absolutely. And yeah, it was fun. The questions were good. Everything was good about it. So that's another reason I'm looking forward to watching the doc so I could see how I did in the interviews. But yeah, I'm always down to like ask and answer questions like that. So I
You're gonna have
appreciate
to
you guys
fly
bringing
out for that premiere, man. When we have, you gotta fly out and see it first, man. You gotta be there.
Of course, yeah. Just if you said, let me think. So if you said like what, mid 2022, I think if you said mid 2022, I think I can make that work. I think
Yeah.
I think I'll be there. I think I can make that work. And I think Igor, I think he'll be in season somewhere. I'm not still don't know. No one really knows where he's gonna sign yet, but I'm pretty sure he'll be in season. So if he's hopefully out of the season, then I'll just tell him, hey, let's go to the premiere. Let's watch this happen. So Chet, also going back a little bit, you said you grew up in Philadelphia. Did you have a favorite player on the Flyers? Like, was there anyone that you watched on the Flyers that you kind of even emulated ball hockey wise, aside from Marshawn Lynch?
Well, I wish I could say my game was like this guy, but I was a big Eric Lindros fan back in the day. So that was like my player. I mean, I got his rookie card somewhere, so I don't know what it's worth, but that was my guy for sure. Then I didn't really, I kind of, since I was moving around, I kind of didn't really stay with the Flyers too much, just rooting for hockey in general. So, just guys I rooted for, like Oak and Sid the Kid, that kind of stuff. But Lindros for sure was my favorite player growing up for sure.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to really watch too much of Lindros's career, but seeing highlights, this guy was special. He was dominant. He was just physically, like he was just physically a man so early. Just takes pucks to the net. He was a great player in his time. So obviously, you also said you moved to LA. Have you been able to, obviously not last year really because of the pandemic, but before, were you able to catch any Kings games at the Staples Center, or I guess I'll even say Ducks games at the Honda Center too?
I was able to catch one Kings game. I don't forget who they played, but that might have been my first one. My first hockey game, and I didn't realize how cold it got there. I'm just thinking it's like a regular like basketball game or something like that. I'm like freezing by the second period, but it was awesome to watch. So I'm definitely a fan for sure.
Yeah, I need to see some more hockey. The first hockey game I ever actually watched was an AHL game. The director of our documentary, Britt Rose, actually took me to a Peoria Rivermen game. And there was a fight in that game too. So the first time I saw hockey, I got a little taste of like all the best parts of hockey. It was really nice.
So Anson, was that game in Peoria?
Yeah, that was in Peoria.
Nice. Yeah, Peoria. I'm like probably 2 hours north of Peoria. So I've been to Peoria a few times. They're a big minor hockey league town, that's for sure.
Yeah, the Rivermen fans are like, they run deep. And we're out here in LA now. She's still a huge fan of the Rivermen. She'll never stop.
I know they're in the Southern Professional League, which is a lower minor league. But yeah, I mean, shout out to the River, shout out to the Rivermen, I guess. So yeah, so Chet, you obviously moved out to LA. I want to know, what was the biggest kind of culture shock moment going from East Coast to West Coast? Because you also were in Charlotte too, which is still East Coast. So what was the biggest culture shock moment?
Well, for me, it was only because, I'm older, and then I moved out here, and then it was like I went back to like the college days because I ended up getting Craigslisting a room with like these kids from USC. You're like 20, like, and the vibe was just totally different. You know what I mean? Thinking, oh yeah, it's gonna be like a what you call it, like a frat house, and I'm overage, but it worked out. I met a good friend, Jack Pegler, who's actually kind of in the hockey scene. But the strange thing about that, Jack was big into hockey, coached hockey, but I always try to get him out for ball hockey, and he wouldn't do it. So, that was a little disappointment. So I think one of the things we're trying to get people into ball hockey is kind of not to look down on it. I think some ice hockey guys are like, it's ball hockey, whatever. But that's probably the biggest disappointment. I never got him to play. But yeah, besides, the vibe being different from the coast, and the cost of living is like crazy, compared to the East Coast. So that's probably the biggest thing is the cost. But I would never want to live anywhere else. I mean, the weather, it's like t-shirt weather all year round. Can't beat it. Beautiful women, everything. It's awesome.
No, you really can't beat it. So Anson, I'll ask you then. So where did you grow up, and when did you end up heading out west to Los Angeles?
So I'm from the south side of Chicago, born and raised.
What?
Yeah.
So before you continue, me being probably like 45 minutes from where you grew up, what neighborhood did you grow up in? Because I feel like everyone should know, but in case you don't, the south side of Chicago is not exactly the safest place to grow up, especially it's murder. It's, to put it lightly,
Calling me out, man. You calling out my city?
No, I'm calling out. No, it's just the neighborhood. It's just the neighborhood because like the city has a lot of great neighborhoods, like obviously like the Loop, River North, but the South Side has a reputation for being probably the most dangerous because of all the gun violence that happens. And I know the West Side's bad too, like where the United Center is, that's bad. Even the Blackhawks practice rink, like I've been there, you have to go through metal detectors when you go in there. So
yeah,
it's not
my high school had metal detectors going in too. So yeah, I definitely I'm from the hood, man. I'm from that place.
what
I
neighborhood?
grew up in
Yeah.
the Chatham area, which is like a nice little quiet corner, but there's
It's
still
not the worst. Yeah, there's worse.
but a block away and 2 blocks away, there's still everything that you would, expect to see. So I still had to navigate that growing up. And then I went to college in Peoria. I went to Bradley University. That's where I met the director, who is my partner. And then after I graduated, I just spent 1 year in Chicago. And funny enough, my degree's in video game design. So I moved to Los Angeles so I could make video games. And now I'm making movies. So it's a very interesting transition.
Yeah, for sure. So funny story. Also, you mentioned Bradley. My mom actually is an alum of Bradley University. So that's also,
there we go.
yeah, exactly. So represent. But no, I think that's also interesting. Obviously, I was talking about this with my guest Joe Barry last episode. Is basically you want to get your foot in the door any way you can in the industry. So like obviously there are video game production companies out in LA. Like I know EA has an office in, I think, Playa Vista, LA, and there's different places, but you just got to try to get your foot in the door in any industry, because even like you could still design video games, but that might not be for like 10 years down the road. So at least you're still getting all these experiences now, which is valuable, I think, at least.
No, man, we're like aligned in that mindset. It's like, yeah, I'm a game designer still. I might be doing something else right now, but like you said, I'm getting my foot in the door. I'm making contacts. I'm making friends. Who knows, man? Maybe me and you will be like, yo, let's make a ball hockey game together. Like you never know.
I'm down. Yeah, absolutely. So Chet, another thing that was interesting was, what was your reaction when you saw actor Taylor Kitsch come out and play ball hockey?
That's actually a funny story, because I don't think anybody knew it was him at first, because he had a cage. When he first came, he had a cage on. So everybody just thought it was just a random guy playing. And the one guy, Tim Hare, said, that was Taylor Kitsch out there. And I was like, and I didn't really know him at first. And I was like, Taylor Kitsch. And I was like, oh, the Friday Night Lights guy. I was like, that was him. and he was good too. It's not like he was just like some guy out there playing. Like he had legitimate skills. So once everybody knew it, it was like kind of a different vibe because then everybody's asking for pictures, and then he's like, no pictures, or at least don't post them. So, but I even tried. I don't know if you know Kevin, who brought him.
I don't know Kevin, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, Kevin's like, I go to Kevin. I was like, is there any way I can get him on the OC Wolves NBHL? he's like, he's got his set thing, and he doesn't want any cameras around, so that didn't work. But I did try to recruit him for sure.
You tried your best for sure. Yeah, so I'm looking. I just looked up his filmography, and so obviously he's known for Friday Night Lights and Lone Survivor. But I guess the one movie I saw him in that I didn't necessarily like recognize him in was a movie that came out 2 years ago with the late Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. 21 Bridges, which I thought was a solid movie. So I just looked that up, and I was like, oh no way, he was in this movie. So yeah, Taylor Kitsch. I think it's cool that someone like that was able to come out and play ball hockey.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the other thing is on our OC Wolves team, we have a former NHL guy who played for the Wings, Mitch Callahan, and told him that Taylor Kitsch is playing with us out in Mar Vista. And he's like, oh, that's my favorite actor. I was like, you got to get out there, man. But I said because I hit before how like the best ball hockey game ever played is going to be in this documentary. I was like, I want Taylor Kitsch to play Mitch Callahan if it's ever made into a movie. That's got to happen. Marshall, but
that would be funny for sure. And you also mentioned, so the rink in Mar Vista is where you would host the pickup games. Where did you get that inspiration to start those pickup ball hockey games?
Well, the thing was because the whole pandemic, everything was closed down. So X was the only rink that we could play on. And actually been like, the pandemic's been like terrible. A lot of people died, but in a way there's been some positive things out of it. I mean, I don't think this documentary would have happened if it wasn't for the pandemic. The NBHL wouldn't be where it is at now without the pandemic, because originally it was only supposed to be 5 divisions, just on the East Coast. But through the pandemic, now it grew over that time, and it was like, then they grew to 12 divisions, including California. So, it's as bad as it was, like a lot of good things came out of it as well. And the Mar Vista rink, I'm hoping, me and my partner, Steve Natale, hope to form a league there. Like we like to do it like the Saturday mornings we did. So we're going to try to do a proposal, see if we can get in there for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think it's also been good that you've been able to create a league. Whose idea was it to start the OC Wolves? Was that your idea?
It was actually me and the coach, Chris DeGoaz. He's actually the ref. Remember that last pickup game?
Yeah.
That's Chris. And basically, we knew some of the other teams were going to be kind of tough. When we knew San Francisco Bash, they always win. We're going to be in it. So we're like, let's try to form a team that can compete. And it's basically made up out of like three teams out of Garden Grove to form the OC Wolves. And then we got a couple of recruits. We actually recruited Blake Norman, who was playing roller like right after us at that Mar Vista rink, because a bunch of roller guys played. And we're like, hey, would you be interested in playing ball hockey? He's like, yeah, I'm from Canada. I'd love to do it. And then, he's out there coaching the Gretzky school. So it's just funny how all these connections came about. And, the OC Wolves are going to New Jersey to represent California in the Mila Cup for the National Ball Hockey League now. So.
And Anthony, we interviewed Anthony at Hockeyfest, and he believes that at the tier 2 that the Wolves are going to be one of the favorite teams. So we want to see you guys make it all the way.
Love it. Love to hear it. And speaking of Gretzky, how did you like having his kids Ty and his other kids out there for ball hockey that one time?
That was amazing. Well, the one brother was there before, but nobody knew who he was. So he must have loved it because he came out again. and then Ty and the whole family were there. I know the pics were taken, but it was just like such a good vibe. Ty was amazing. Like, he's like, "Oh, this is so awesome!" Like, it's like if I was here every weekend, I'd be playing this. Like, it's so much fun. And they were just so cool. They gave us like all the gear they had, and it was like, "Here, take my gloves, take my sticks, whoever it." I was like, "Well, I'm gonna try to shoot from the Uganda. That's cool." He's like, "Go ahead," because the Uganda ball hockey situation. There's a guy, captain of mine. He's trying to grow the sport over there, so he's those sticks and those gloves are going over there. So but yeah, the Gretzky's were amazing. And I think the only thing that can top what we have in this documentary is if I know there was rumors of this happening, but if it happens, it'll just take the doc to another level. Is that we can get that Gretzky Larionov ball hockey game, Team Larionov, Team Gretzky. Oh,
That would be unreal.
That's
That'd be crazy, man.
That would be wild. Now, yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little prodding my way toward you to say, "Hey, got to make this happen." But yeah, that's wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I almost thought you were gonna say it would have been crazier if you got like Wayne himself to be in the doc. That's what I thought you were going with it.
Definitely tried, but I think just scheduling conflicts and stuff. I definitely reached out to Ty about it, but yeah, the bucket list is to get that ball hockey game, but an interview would be amazing as well. So we're still holding out hope that can possibly happen for sure.
Yeah, you have to. And even we just lost Chet for a second. He's back. So yeah, even with Gretzky, I was gonna say I feel like he also must be preparing for his new role, because for those that don't know, Gretzky, so he leaves Edmonton. He steps down from the Oilers. Then the next day he gets hired for TNT. So for me personally, I'm interested to see how he's gonna do with TNT, because I think it's no secret that the NBA, like Inside NBA on TNT, unbelievable. It's so funny, the mix of Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, Chuck. It works. It's incredible. They have great chemistry, especially Chuck and Shaq just chirping each other back and forth. So I think that if the NHL can even be somewhat as successful as Inside the NBA on TNT, I think it's going to be great for the game.
Oh yeah, agree, absolutely. I mean,
yeah, that's what's happening over there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's what's happening. So the NHL is going to be on ESPN and TNT, which is nice because it's going to be on equal footing, kind of with the NBA, because the NBA is on ESPN and TNT. So I just am hoping that they don't mess it up, that they actually can help it reach a wider audience, because not that many people really watch hockey, and I think that they should watch it more, because a quote that Igor II has said is, the product on the ice is better than kind of the elements away from it, because especially like with the NBA, like there's a lot of drama off the court that's funny, or not funny, but that's interesting. NFL, there's interesting drama. So I think that if hockey can actually get to reach more people, I think more people are going to fall in love with it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, definitely. I know Snoop Dogg's a fan too.
Say it again.
Snoop Dogg's a fan?
Yeah, because if you play NHL 20, he's talking about how he loves the game, and like Sid Crosby's his favorite player. And they were telling him that he needs to start out with street hockey because it's on foot. So that's in there.
Hey, man, you'll hear it. You got to get Snoop Dogg out to Mar Vista for a pickup, man.
I will say the one thing you should be wary about if you do get him out to Mar Vista is the smell that's gonna come from him being there. He's gonna be blazing it to hell. Oh my god! But
that's scared too.
But yeah, with Snoop Dogg, just to kind of touch on this quickly, is it's funny. Obviously, for those that don't know, he is a hockey fan, and he actually, I think it was in 2018, he made a series with the NHL, basically talking about hockey 101, like just talking about hockey terms. So for me, it was funny. So he would start out his videos. He'd be like, "It's Snoop," because he'd be like, "I'm the greater one, 99 plus 2."
That's hilarious.
Like, yeah, for me, it was just so natural that with what he was doing, and I thought it was really funny. And for those that haven't checked it out, it should be on YouTube. You can just look up Hockey 101 with Snoop Dogg, and he teaches you a lot of different things about hockey, which I think the one funny one was he was talking about like stoned, like, like when the announcer says, "Oh," and the goalie, quick, stone by quick.
Okay, right.
It's almost like, he's like, "What y'all think I meant?" So
Like that's crossing some lingo with him now. He's like, hold up.
Oh,
Stone,
yeah.
hold up. What's that mean again?
Exactly. And then also what was funny was at a Kings game, I think it was, I don't know who they were playing. It might have been playing Pittsburgh, which could be totally wrong, but they were playing someone, and he was in the booth with Jim Fox and Alex Faust. And I think this is when Dion Phaneuf was playing there, because he's like, "Oh, let's go." He's like, "Get him, Dion. Get him, Dion. Get him, Dion."
That's great.
It was a riot. I would say it was the only person I think that might have been funnier, like celebrity-wise, in the booth of a Kings game would probably be when Will Ferrell was Ron Burgundy.
Oh, I gotta see this. I gotta hear this.
Man.
Yeah, Chad, you gotta look this up. For those, like I said, those that don't know. So it was like there was some theme night at the Staples Center for a Kings game, and they're playing the Sharks, and they had Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy from Anchorman in the booth, and it was just crazy. Like he got like a bean burrito up there. He was just like, I think it was on the penalty kill. They'd clear the puck, and he'd be like, "Take that, San Jose, 0 Stanley Cups."
That's amazing.
And then they're like, "Ron, give us your best goal call," and he goes, "He scores. Put that baby to bed without a diaper."
Oh man.
That's awesome.
Oh my god. And for me, the funny thing about this is, like, you're in LA, and I think what's great is that you have the opportunity to get these celebrities and get them involved in a game in that fun way like this, because both Will Ferrell and Snoop Dogg have attended their fair share of games. Like, even with Will Ferrell, I've seen a photo, and I think I'll probably, when I clip this, I can include it on the screen, but there's a photo of Will Ferrell like flipping off a Kings fan.
Oh wow!
So like
that's sick.
Yeah. So the celebrities, they come out in full force with the Kings games. Maybe not as much as you saw when, like, obviously if you watched The Last Dance, when you saw all the celebrities that would come to watch Michael Jordan play, it was crazy. But even just being in LA, and just that a lot of celebrities live in LA, there's that opportunity for them to catch a Kings game. So I think that's always pretty fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So a little game I wanted to play with you guys is this or that. So I'm just going to be giving you 2 options, and you're going to say which one you choose. So, and obviously it's LA related, you both being out there. So first I got LA County or Orange County. Like, which one you like better? Which one you want to live in?
For me,
LA
Orange
County.
Oh, so Chet, you said Orange County. And
yeah.
All right, let's get into this. So Chet, why would you say Orange County?
For Orange County, I think just because I'm older now, so it's more chill. And then, I got the ball hockey leagues out there too. So the ball hockey we play is in Garden Grove, which is Orange County. So, and I like the food there, the Mexican food there. So everything's cool. Orange County for me. I mean, to me, In-N-Out's overrated. That's the East Coast in me, but
I feel that. In-N-Out's definitely overrated, but I still gotta go with LA County, man. It's like it's happening out here. I'm a city boy. It's lots of city stuff happening. The vibes are really different depending on a couple blocks that you go. It's just really an interesting city to live in.
I'm going to have to agree with, first I'm going to disagree with both of you that In-N-Out's overrated. It's not, but that's also, I grew up in LA. So listen, I grew up in LA, so I never had this hype that you two would have.
okay.
Yeah.
So it was just, for me, like, it was normal. But no, I'll agree with Anson, LA County, kind of for the points he made, that a lot more happening. There's a lot more going on. And Orange County's still obviously nice. I mean, because you got like Newport Beach, Laguna, a lot of good spots. But I don't know, just for me, like LA County, like it's unmatched. But
Yeah, I get it.
That's just me. So next we're going to go Kings or Ducks.
Kings for me, for sure.
I mean, you asking the wrong guy because I got to pick the Blackhawks,
No, I know you're a Blackhawks fan. Hey, the Blackhawks.
If I had to pick Kings because I live here now, so
yeah, I'd say Kings. What's funny is the Blackhawks have beaten both those teams en route to a Stanley Cup, so you got that going for you. Next, all right, this one's interesting. I got Lakers or Clippers.
That's a tough one.
oh,
I gotta go Clippers.
Whoa,
I gotta go with the
wow.
underdog.
oh. I feel like I gotta go Lakers because the LA people gonna give me flag if I don't pick the Lakers.
I'm definitely going Lakers on this one, but I want to hear Chet. Why are you going Clippers? Because I've said this for a while. I just don't think there are many Clipper fans that exist. It took me a long time to believe that any Clipper fans existed.
Yeah, well, I would say I'm a fan of. I'm not really a fan of either, but when they got Leonard, I started to become a fan of the Clippers. I was like anybody. I'm probably gonna regret this, but I was anybody but LeBron. So.
Okay,
So I thought the Clippers could take them down, but it didn't happen.
So what I will say is this past year, they obviously made it to the conference final. And, part of me was happy because I'm like, listen, this franchise has not done very well historically. And I thought it was great that they got that far. Obviously, the Suns were better that year, which to me what was funny was the Suns, basically half of the series they played were in LA. So they got pretty familiar with LA. I mean, obviously it was nice for Devin Booker because his girlfriend Kendall Jenner lives in LA, but but everyone else, I mean, you still get to enjoy LA on the road, but yeah. And the other thing is Kawhi. Do you think Kawhi's a free agent right now? Do you think he comes back? Because it honestly seems like this kind of Kawhi Leonard experiment with the Clippers, I don't think has really worked that much. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
People have been complaining. I guess he's been kind of a bit of a diva, and obviously they choked that 3-1 lead in the bubble, so it hasn't really worked. So what do you where do they go from here? Do you think they should bring Kawhi back?
I mean, I think they should, but like you said, I don't think he's coming back. I think the experiment didn't work really.
I feel like they gotta give it one more year. They made it all the way. First time in 50 years. Let him stay healthy, give him one more shot, and they might be able to make something work.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Here's the other thing. The other thing is that Kawhi is also hurt. I don't think he's gonna play this year too, because he's injured. He's getting surgery. So even if let's say 22, 23, he comes back. Yeah, I guess you would have to give it one more year. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, especially it seems like teams are always getting better. I just didn't think the Clippers did really anything this offseason to get older, or not to get older, to get better. So there's that. And then another interesting thing, a clip I saw yesterday was rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, LA legend. He did an interview a number of years back where he was talking about he almost went to the Clippers instead of the Lakers. So he basically said he had a really good and fun workout with the Clippers, and they told him, hey, it's the best workout we've ever seen. And he's like, oh, so you guys going to draft me? They're like, no. He's like, what do you mean you're not going to draft me? And they were like, well, you see, if we were to draft a 17-year-old, we don't think City of Los Angeles is going to take us seriously.
Wow,
they tweaked on that one.
Boy, were they wrong on that one.
Can't get any more wrong.
Terrible. So, Anson, I think that's a fair answer saying the Lakers, because at least when I was growing up, obviously it was during Kobe's dominant time, era. So I just never thought the Clippers were a possibility, even though I do like Blake Griffin, former Blake of the Year winner. But it was always, for me, Lakers. And how do you guys think they're going to do this year? Because everyone's giving them flack because they got older this year, because they got Dwight Howard again. They got Carmelo Anthony. They got Westbrook. So everyone's giving them flack. So how do you think they're going to do this year?
I hate to say it, but they're gonna make a deep run with that squad. A lot of those guys have chips on their shoulders, and I think Westbrook himself is gonna try to put the team on his back. But I think LeBron is gonna be the perfect neutralizing factor for Westbrook not to steal the show, So they're gonna make a pretty deep run. But I'm excited to see where the Bulls get to, because they made some really good offseason moves.
Okay, so yeah, the Bulls did. I mean, for those that don't know, they obviously got Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan. So I think the Bulls are obviously a better team, but at least for me, where I get stuck on it is teams I just think are better than the Bulls. I think everyone said it a million times, but Brooklyn, no brainer. Brooklyn's better. I feel like people have forgotten the Milwaukee Bucks just won a championship are that good.
Definitely.
They're gonna be there.
They're the team to beat.
They are, and even I think Miami with Kyle Lowry, I think they're gonna be good. And then I guess another team that kind of even throw in the mix is Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta went to the conference final. Trae Young's getting another year older. He's gonna be even better. So, I mean, who knows how it's gonna run? Oh, and then I guess 6 maybe would be the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks, who knows what they'll be like? Maybe they'll be good, but yeah, it's going to be tough for the Bulls to make a run, I think.
It's going to be a competitive Eastern Conference. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It will be. And I guess what's also interesting for Westbrook is that obviously I think there's going to be pressure on him, but he's also a local guy because he grew up here and he also played at UCLA. So he's an LA guy through and through. So I think there's going to be some pressure playing for his hometown team. And for me, what's funny is just everyone has been talking about how they've been getting older. And have you guys seen that LeBron tweet that he deleted or no?
I haven't seen it.
I think so.
Yeah. So basically like the tweet he was talking about, he's like when you here, let me pull it up real quick. So
keep that same energy one. Yeah.
Yeah. He basically was saying like, I want you guys to tell me one more time. He's like, I want you to tell me one more time. Like, just keep that same energy because he's like, everyone talk about our personal age, all that stuff. So I mean, obviously, like I get that he doesn't like that people are talking about how old they are, and the reason people talk about that is because it's a durability thing. I mean, I hate to bring it up, but he even said himself, he goes, "I'll never be 100% again because of his ankle injury." So. I mean, he's an injury prone guy. Not he's injury prone, but he's been injured last year. Davis is injury prone. They have a lot of guys in their 30s, so it's just a durability thing. So that's what I think. But
have you seen that one picture though, where it's like showing the new Lakers squad and their ages, and it compares them to the ages that the '90s Bulls were when they made their historic run?
No, I don't think I have. So
because like they're not that far off in age. So like. If the guys take care of their bodies, they could really do something nasty.
I think they could. But I almost want, and I guess, well, obviously this is the last thing I'll touch on it before we move on to the next one was, I just wonder how they would stack up against obviously Brooklyn, because I feel like everyone thought Brooklyn and LA was going to be the final last year. Yeah. Didn't happen, and people are quick to say it'll be again this year. So I'm not going to be quick to say that's what it's going to be. But even like a team like Milwaukee, because Milwaukee finally found a way this year, and they like Giannis came up clutch when he needed to, because everyone was knocking him about that. So honestly, it's anyone's title. It's gonna be an interesting season when it starts again, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
So the next one, I don't know if you'll really have too much of an answer for this one, but we're gonna go Rams or Chargers. We're going to go football on this one.
I got to go Chargers because I like the quarterback. I think Herbert is the real deal for sure.
I don't know much about that pigskin sport. You know, we don't throw those around here.
Why, are you a Bears fan? Is that why, Anson?
I could have told you I was a Bears fan a long time ago, but they're so disappointing.
Oh, they are disappointing. I don't think the Bears are going to be. So real quick before we get into the Bears, who's your choice? Chargers or Rams? Because you got NFC versus AFC, so you got different conferences here.
I mean, I guess I'll go Chargers because they've been here, right? The Rams just got here.
No, they're both no. So the Rams got here a little bit before the Chargers did, or no, they actually, or no. I'm pretty sure they were the same. I could check, but so the Rams originally were originally in LA, and then they moved to St. Louis and moved back. So they moved in 2016, the Rams, and then the Chargers. Let's see, they moved in 2017. So the Rams were the first one back.
So I'm going Rams then because they came here first.
Okay. I'm going to go Rams, although it's weird because I actually like the San Francisco 49ers and we're in the same division. So it's kind of weird for me to say that. Although I think to myself, if the Rams, like, I'd be fine if the Rams went 15-2, but lost to us both times. I think that'd be fine. And the Chargers, I think the Chargers will be better because I think not only Herbert is going to be in his second year, but their O-line's better. They have a new coach. I think they'll be a better team. But yeah, Anson, the Bears, I mean, like, it's like, what's going on there? I mean, like, for me, like, obviously Justin Fields, I think, will be good, but it just seems like they're Nagy and Pace are just trying to keep their jobs, even though I think they're past their expiration date, I think.
Yeah.
And plus, I guess for you too is like the Bears. I mean, they're not finishing first in that division with the Packers. They're not finishing first. I mean,
yeah, nowhere near that.
Especially since they got Aaron Rodgers back, even though Aaron's a little bitter toward the organization, they're not going to finish first. Now the Chargers, Chet's also interesting because they're not going to finish first either because I mean they have a team in their division. Some might have heard of it's the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are dominant. So I mean I just don't think that they're going to finish. They're going to finish first. They might make a wild card spot. I think both teams could be playoff teams. I think the Rams are definitely a playoff team because them getting Matthew Stafford is huge. And I know everyone's made the jokes that they don't have any first round picks for the next 15 years because they've traded them all away. But I mean, I think that he's a big upgrade. And obviously I even talked about this with Igor on the first episode of the podcast, him being a Lions fan. He's happy that he said he's like, oh, I might have to go out and watch his boy Matty Stafford, who was in Detroit for all those years. And quite honestly, I think it's good that he got out of there because now we can actually see what he could do with the team. And that's no disrespect to Detroit Lion fans, but you guys all know that the Lions are a bad organization. So I'm interested to see what Stafford does. I think they could be a Super Bowl contending team because they have the offense, but then also Jalen Ramsey on defense. And I mean, Aaron Donald, that guy's a freak of nature.
Insane.
He's insane. So I think with those two, I think that they'll have a very good chance of competing. So that was good. So I guess the final question I wanted to ask both of you was, who would you like to see me interview next on the podcast?
I would like to see you interview Teddy Purcell. Because Teddy came out to the Mar Vista one time. He said he was going to be in the documentary. So Teddy, I'm holding you to this. But I mean, I've heard he's works with McDavid in the off season. Just a really cool guy. I think his wife just won a gold medal in the Olympics. So I mean, he definitely have a lot to talk about. And just him being in the NHL, he's got a lot of different topics he can talk about. And he's a funny guy. I've heard him on the Spit and Chicklets podcast. So he likes the bus balls and all that kind of stuff. So he'd be good. Very entertaining for sure.
Yeah, I would like Teddy. I think my dad might know him. I'll have to ask. I'll have to talk to him about that. So I think that one's good. And then Anson, how about you?
If you want a good hockey guest and if you want them to be tapped into the NBHL in the season and someone who's going to be a real character that's going to be ridiculous, I would say Coach Chris DeGolis. Like that guy, he texts me sometimes at like 1 a.m. with hockey stuff. Like he lives and breathes this stuff and he's a great guy. I think he'd be a great guest.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have anyone like just like in general, like not even hockey related? Because as you know, I can talk about anything. So,
right. Yeah.
Like, who do you think in general? Let's go, Anson. Let's see.
No, in general. Oh man, I know so many people, and it's like right now on the spot, like who should you talk to? Because like they're all really fantastic. Like who's doing? I should pull up my Instagram. That's what I should do, and be like, who am I tapped in with right now? Because I've got friends doing podcasts. I've got friends shooting movies. You know what? Michael Solomon. He is a really good homie of mine. He's a film partner of mine. He's an actor. He's a huge character. And recently we just did a hike from Glendale all the way to Beverly Hills. It was 16 miles. It was ridiculous. We
Crazy.
vlogged the whole thing. I died 13 miles in and couldn't finish the rest of the trip. And he's a really good dude. So I think if you talk to Solomon, he'd be a solid guest.
Yeah, good to hear. So where can people find the both of you on social media? And obviously give you a follow.
Okay. On IG, I'm Chet E. Johnson on there. And then you can also follow the OC Wolves. I think it's OC Wolves official. It's the Instagram. And then the website for the documentary, I believe. Do you know what that is, Anson, off the top of your head?
I'm pretty sure it's floatingblue.com. It's not floatingblue.com. It's not.
Well,
it's
if you
not
follow
floating.
me, you'll see the documentary on there.
There you go. You'll edit that part out.
Yeah. Chet, I think I was gonna say, I believe I saw on your Instagram. Yeah, it's on your Instagram. You have you do mention the Floating Blue documentary. So I think you will have some info about that.
Yeah.
So
That's probably what it is. Hold on. I'm about to find it right now. Floating
I know
Blue
the hashtag we're using is Floating Blue Movie, but I know that's not the.
It's
the website.
floatingbluedocumentary.com.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah.
So Anson, how about you? Where can the listeners and viewers find you on social media?
You can find me on any and every social platform at Zolo the Legend, ZOLO the Legend. That's my camp name. And you can also follow my production team on all social media at BlackRose__pro.
Perfect. And like these two gentlemen have been saying throughout the whole interview, the Floating Blue documentary will be coming out next year. So as always, make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. I will obviously, as it gets closer to a release date or even when it's coming out, I will make sure to mention that the Floating Blue is coming out, where to find it, and where to obviously everyone to go listen to it. If you had to, I guess I would say, what would your ideal what would the ideal release of the documentary be, like on what service or platform?
If dreams could be granted, we want this on Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely. Netflix is.
That's where we're shooting. Yeah.
Netflix. No, that'd be fire. Do you have what would your dream backup be?
Dream backup. I would be mad at Hulu. I would be mad at Disney Plus. I would be mad at Amazon Prime even. I wouldn't be mad at any of those platforms. If they want us, come get us,
Funny you say Hulu. That's who I was actually thinking of before you said it. I was like,
oh, really? Yeah.
Hulu. Yeah, Hulu's pretty good with documentaries. They're pretty popular. So yeah, that's who I had a feeling you were gonna go with. But I mean, it just worked out that way. Yeah. So yeah, Anson, Chet, big thanks again for coming on. It was a blast having you guys on. I wouldn't mind getting you guys back on before the release of the documentary to kind of talk about the documentary before, obviously, for the release. And
absolutely, yeah.
And if we could work it out even before the premiere, we could try to do it in person. That'd be awesome.
That'd be super sweet. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for having us here, Peyton. Like, this has been real great.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. We loved it.
No problem. Thanks for coming on again, guys.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
Big thanks to Anson and Chet for joining the show. I had a fun time chatting with them, and make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that Floating Blue documentary. I know it doesn't come out for at least another 8 months at the minimum, but as that date gets closer and as they let me know when it's going to come out, I will make sure that you guys know when it's coming out so that you can check it out. I'm going to be in the documentary, so that, gives you a little more emphasis to check it out. As always, my personal Instagram is p.hughes15. Check out the podcast Instagram. It's PK's Place Podcast. Make sure if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts to go ahead and leave a 5-star review, leave a comment. Anything really helps out. Follow on Spotify, subscribe to YouTube. The YouTube versions of podcasts will be coming out every Tuesday. So that's the day after the podcast form drops. Everyone have a good weekend. Stay safe and have lots of fun.